My name is Igor Dorovskikh. I'm the engineering manager at a leading social media company, which is releasing iOS and Android application around the world and has an impact of millions of users. Since this application has such a large audience, quality is a big aspect of a release process. And what it means quality for us is not only functional testing, visual testing is very important. We're building application every time we have a commit to the main branch, so multiple times per day. We're on native iOS and Android test frameworks such as XUI Test as Espresso as often as pull request merges. So for us, quality is actually starting with the development process. Every time we release bi-weekly, we have full regression, and that's when the visual testing becomes a very important aspect to make determination are we ready to release or not. Functional testing is very important, which is mimicking the user flows. However, because this is the global application released to various countries and have to support multiple languages, globalization is a very important aspect. That's where the Applitools make a huge impact for us. For instance, when we are testing on multiple languages, we're not covering all of them. We choose the 5 most important ones. And that's where we catch bugs that are impossible to catch by functional testing. Similarly, screen-wise, we're not trying to cover all the screens. We're very selective based on the business priority and try to cover the most important flows and most important screens. The great example, for instance, screens that could cause a legal issue, like terms and conditions, which would never be covered by the functional testing. Before we embedded Applitools solution into our release and QA process, we did not have any testing process for globalization rollouts. So strings were translated, injected into application, but were never tested how they look actually on different localization. So with Applitools, we basically use the same test flow, same testing team without hiring any additional resources and cover 5 most used languages on hundreds of different screens. Without this, we were missing bugs, which obviously could cause bad reviews on the App Store from different countries besides the English-speaking countries. And then within localization managers, they also start learning how to utilize Applitools platform to validate different screens without actually installing application. All they have to do, logging to the Applitools dashboard, look at the array of failures and determine which is actually bugs or not. So again, our localization managers are actually wearing the hat of testers and helping us to do this process in a smooth way. Before we embedded Applitools solution into our process, we had an idea to hire outsourced company with the linguist to actually test different locales. Obviously, to cover that many languages, we would have an army of these engineers to do it on a regular basis. And Applitools was the shortcut to avoid such as expense. And now, with existing team, with existing localization managers, and without hiring any single person, we're able to discover bugs before they hit the production. Besides globalization issue, Applitools helps us to find a lot of layout issues. Various screen sizes on different mobile devices can cause text truncation or a functional bug, which could not be discovered by native test automation because it works under hood and does not have visual AI capability. So with Applitools, we can actually discover, even with English locale, bugs that before we just accidentally slip. Before looking at Applitools as a solution for AI visual testing, we'll look at the snapshot framework. Previously, in the company, snapshot was used on the unit test layer, and it was run as every PR. However, snapshot framework is just comparison apple to apple. It doesn't have the AI capability, which actually can emit false positives and false negatives. For example, the very common source of the false positive, false negative outcomes is A/B test. And because of Applitools have capability to adjust to the A/B test and discover bugs that actually matter, it reduces significant amount of time that we spend for validating different issues. A lot of people think about visual testing as the QA tool for quality assurance, but actually it has more impact than for just the quality team. After POC and adopting it within the quality team, we push the ball further. We start descending this on the product managers, engineering managers, developers, and it helps to discover a lot of things about the UX as well. Before adopting Applitools, we were looking at various solutions. For instance, our engineering team were using Snapshot, open source framework, but there was on unit test layer. So they were running it along with unit tests and linters on each pull request and commit. However, by looking closer to that solution, we realized that it will cause a lot of false positive, false negative for one reason. It's not supporting experiments, A/B testing. What Applitools platform allows us to, which is actually AI component, to educate it, to make sure that all the A/B tests treated and completely omit false positives, false negatives on each run. Besides functionality, which is important for users, and nimble, smooth flows, legal is a big aspect of quality. It is impossible to test the legal part of application for compliance using the functional test automation such as XUI test and Espresso. That's where Applitools is indispensable asset, because it helps to validate missing text or missing terms of condition for any legal aspect, which could cost company millions of dollars in lawsuits. The crucial aspect that actually made us to choose Applitools was the support. A lot of times you try to adjust new technology, adopt it, and you don't get any hand-holding. With Applitools team, you get instantaneous support, weekly meetings. Engineering team is always ready to jump on the problems if they exist. So that's what made for us, Applitools is the #1 choice. Yeah, besides of visual bugs, Applitools actually can catch the bugs which can cause companies a lot of financial issues. For instance, when a person goes through the payment flow and payment button is not translated in certain languages, and cause a lot of confusion and can diverge user from actual final payment and cause company financial damage.